Metro on 101.9 WDET. I'm Kerry Jr. II. Detroit's relationship with its LGBTQ plus population is ever-changing and constantly evolving. We have our Motor City Pride and an annual 53-year-old celebration of love and life. But when June ends, does Pride go with it? In the 1970s and 80s, Detroit had over 50 gay bars and spaces for queer residents to be themselves year-round. Now there are about 10, and of those 10, very few have dedicated time and space to honor queer women. Women are nearly twice as likely to identify as LGBTQ compared to their counterparts, and according to a 2021 study by UCLA, they make up about 55% of Metro Detroit's queer population. So what can be done to create a space for queer and LGBTQ women in and around Detroit? Well, one Detroiter has an answer for us, an exclusive gathering by the girls for the girls, Sapphic Social event. Randi Watson is on the Metro today to let us know that queer women in Detroit deserve a space to themselves and that she's willing to provide it. Randi, welcome to the Metro.
Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you. So first, I want to talk about you and your upbringing. You grew up in Grand Rapids. What was it like being in Grand Rapids, being a member of the LGBTQ community there?
Yeah, so I grew up in the Grand Rapids area, which if people have been around Michigan long enough, they know Grand Rapids is more of a conservative area. Mm-hmm. I moved out of the Grand Rapids area when I was about 14, which was about the time I came out. So I wasn't really out in the Grand Rapids area. I was more out down in the downriver Detroit area.
Was there any reason for why? Was it Detroit? Did Detroit provide a place or a space for you to feel more comfortable? Or is that just when you just, finally came to accepting it?
Yes. My uncle and his partner, so they were in a gay relationship, so I always looked up to them. They lived in the downriver area and they didn't have any kids, and I saw an opportunity to move in with them so I could be more myself with them.
I see. Okay, so back to the West Side. Just want to get a little bit more of your experience over there, if you don't mind. What was it like, and was it hard to connect with other folks or find a sense of community over there?
Yes, it was very hard to find a sense of community because I had a religious upbringing, so my friends and family were all a religious upbringing, so it was hard to find people that were like me. So I felt like I stayed in the closet a lot longer than I needed to because of that reason.
And as it seems like you're saying, your uncle and his partner are who really kind of made you say, okay, this is a place where I can really be myself. Did they say anything particularly to you? Was there any kind of moment that you remember that resonated and was like, okay, now I really feel safe to be who I want to be?
Yeah, I would visit them in the summertime and just spend time with them and just observing their lifestyle in the Detroit area. And they had a lot of gay friends and they had a great social life, and I just saw that as something that I wanted for my life.
Did they ever say what they did in and around Detroit that supported their lifestyle?
They mostly would go to the gay bars, so Menjo's, Gold Coast. When I turned 18, they actually took me to Menjo's for my 18th birthday. There's a campground right outside of Saugatuck called Camp It that they told me about, and we've gone there every year for 8 years. So just different gay things that they were involved in.
What kind of feeling, I want to get to the heart of like that moment when you came here to Detroit and you realized there was just more to offer than there was in Grand Rapids. What was that like for you?
I felt like it was liberating. I came to live with my uncle. I was working at the same place he was, and he just introduced me as his lesbian niece, and I felt like I could truly be open and be myself in the environment working with him and then in my personal life as well.
Mm. And in terms of like the places you could go at this time, we're talking, this is early 2000s, mid 2000s? No.
2006.
2006?
2007, yep.
So what places were available for you at that time?
Not a lot. I was pretty young, so I would say the first place that I went to that was accepting was Stilettos, which was a lesbian bar in Inkster, and it was 18 and up. So that was the first place that I went to as a open lesbian where there were other lesbians.
And is that like the type of experience that you would prefer, or is there other ones that you think are still missing throughout the Metro Detroit area?
There's definitely a lot missing. And just going back to the first event, so that was when I was 18. So I guess the first event would be Pride. So Ferndale Pride, I went with my uncle, and I've never been to a Pride before in the Grand Rapids area. So I would say Ferndale Pride was my first actual exposure to what the gay community was all about. And then also Motor City Pride. And then, when I became of age, going to Stilettos and other bars.
And those places were enough, or you're saying that there's still something lacking? Yeah,
so Stilettos closed when I was, I don't know, it was a couple years ago now. Well, probably like 2016, 2017. Don't quote me on that. But so that was the only lesbian bar, to my knowledge, in the Michigan area. So there is no dedicated space specifically for queer women.
I see. And so so if I understand you correctly, there's none.
There are a couple dedicated nights. So there's First Wednesday that used to be at Rosie O'Grady's, and I think it migrated over to 215. And there's also the third Friday of the month at Pronto. But what we found is that these dedicated nights, they don't start till 9 p.m.
Oh, wow.
So, and at least me and my queer friend group, we want to be in the bed at 10 p.m. So
that's fair. No one's trying to be out that late. That's fair. So there's only a few days here and there. What do you do in between? Do you just wait till those days to go out? How do you spend your time?
Well, I am fortunate enough to have a queer friend group, which I think a lot of other women have, their core queer friend group, that they just go out together and spend time together and hope to meet other queer women out in the wild. It's just hard to spot each other because, especially if you're feminine presenting and you just don't know if you go to the bar, are there other queer women, or how do you tell? So it's difficult to make friends.
I do want to know, like, from your experience, how the conventional bars, why aren't those spaces that you find comfortable?
Just speaking from my own personal experience, going out with my wife, for example, and being affectionate with her in public, it's either like a discriminatory look, like they're judging us, or it's creepy people who are looking at us like we're, there for them. So it's uncomfortable to go out and be able to be ourselves authentically without being judged.
I see. You're listening to The Metro on 101.9 WDET. I'm Carrie Jr. II. My guest is Randi Watson. She is the host and organizer of Sapphic Social. It's a gathering for queer and LGBTQ women. It's happening this Saturday, July 19th at Florian East in Hamtramck. Okay, so to the event now. I want to talk about it. It's called Sapphic Social. Sapphism is an umbrella term for women who are attracted to women. And the Sapphic Social is an event by queer and lesbian women for queer and lesbian women. Are you expecting a large attendance than you originally assumed? Tell me a little bit about the event, what you're going to do, and what you think the turnout will be.
Right. So we initially, I guess we were just trying to create a space. So we were like, we can't dedicate the time and resources for a brick and mortar. So we need to just have a pop-up event. So we need to find an established venue where we can utilize their wait staff, their bar. So that's how we found the venue, the Florian, and just put the tickets out there, capped it at 100. And really it's just been word of mouth. And as of this morning, we've sold 95 tickets. So, and
this is your first event?
This is our first event.
So how did you come about saying, okay, we're going to do a whole event? I get that you're saying we're missing this, but why were you like, you know what, I have to be the one?
Because no one else was doing it. Fair. So, and I'm a very type A personality. I'm an accountant. So we've been talking about it, my wife and I and our queer friends, and we just got back from a queer event. And I was like, man, we really need something like this for Detroit, and just decided to put it together one step at a time and give us plenty of time to plan it and spread the word. And it's been successful, surprisingly. So, do you have plans to increase its frequency? Like, as you outlined earlier, there's events every now and then, but they're, once a month, every other month. Was it a third Wednesday in 1 month or something like that? I imagine this is a big step to increase more places, but it would be nice to have something that's a lot more regular. Yes, I agree with that. I think now we're going to start with this event, and once we gain a following and the trust of our followers, we'll gauge to see, do we want to do it every month, every other, every quarter? And I think 5-year plan is, if it's really successful and we build a following, that we would eventually open up a brick and mortar would be the end game for us. Wow. Okay. Mm-hmm. That's a tough job, brick and mortars and late night spots, but
I commend you for the effort and for wanting to really build this out for not yourself, but for your community. What do you think this could change about Detroit's social scene that would make it more welcoming, or what do you think should change?
Well, my wife and I have had the opportunity to travel internationally, and every time we travel somewhere new, whether it be another state or another country, we're always seeking out a gay space where we can feel comfortable. So that's kind of my vision for it, is when people travel to Detroit and they're like, where do the lesbians hang out? Where are all the queer women? That they can look up our space if we're having an event, or down the road if we actually have a brick and mortar, they can find that safe space that they can connect with other queer women.
Yeah. And so one last time, this is going to be this weekend, Sapphic Social. All are welcome, but men are not welcome, to be clear, right?
Yes, they have a lot of their own spaces, so not that we're discriminating against them, but
Fair.
Our objective is to be intentional about making this space specifically for queer women.
Yeah, that's absolutely fair. All right, Randi Watson, she is the organizer of the Sapphic Social event. Sapphic Social is going to be Saturday, July 19th from 6 to 9 p.m. at the Florian East Lager and Ales in Hamtramck. Thank you so much, Randi, for joining me this morning, sharing your story and telling us about this event.
Thank you so much for having me.
WDET's annual listener survey is out, and we want to hear from you. Let us know how we're doing with our coverage here on the Metro and at WDET. It only takes about 10 minutes. We're listener-powered, and believe me, we read every comment. Go to WDET.org/survey today. Metro is hosted by Robin Vinson and Tia Graham and produced by Sam Corey, myself, Kerry Jr. II, and Jack Philbrandt. Our engineer is Nate Bender, music by Sam Bobian, and our senior producer is David Lyons. The Metro is a production of WDET, a listener-supported service of Wayne State University. This is WDET-FM, Detroit Public Radio, your connection to news, music, and conversation.